unfiltered, unexpected.
I played the
We're
wrong
going
one.
off stage next.
I played the wrong opening. Oh well. Jackie Wild will have to get used to it. Used to the screw-ups on here. Welcome to Acute Mania Live. See, it's always unexpected what happens on the show. There's so many buttons I need a director. I need a sound guy. I need a video guy. I need somebody with signs. I don't think a teleprompter would help because I'm going to have to use my foot to keep the pages going. I need just cue cards?
Yeah.
I just need a whole team. I need a whole team of people. It's a one-man show, kind of like a one-man band, you know.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Anyway,
you know,
Bart, how you doing, man? It's good to see you.
You know what, Scott? It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for being on. I know it's crazy over in California right now, and I was worried last night. I wasn't thinking for some reason, and seeing all that stuff, and then I was like, well, wait a minute. My guest on Friday is in California. I better make sure, you're not like watching out the windows as we're on the show. How's it going, man?
It was, it's so nice to be here, honestly, because of that. And so I'll start by just saying, my heart and my prayers go out to everybody out here, up in LA. And I tell you, it has been a bummer around here the last couple of weeks or last couple of days, man. It's been a real drag. And so this is a nice diversion. It's a nice thing to kind of to bring a little bit of fun and levity to things. So thanks so much thanks so much to your show and you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, man. It's
thanks, man.
We had a wild show the other night with Devils in Disguise, and I say wild because it got a little raunchy in places, but it hasn't. I haven't had a show like that in a long time. The whole band was on, and it was fun. We dogged on Olive Garden for about a half an hour, and then the chat got involved. There were so many people chatting. They were chatting with each other in there, and that's what I like to see. I like to see people interacting with each other, and so it was a lot of fun. Those guys were great, and I hope to get over to back to Baltimore actually, to meet them. So
let me start by asking that. Why the hell would you bag on Olive Garden?
Well, okay, so I
gotta know, man.
Well, okay, this is good though. This is good. So Pat, their bass player, I believe, is their bass player. He's Italian. So they were talking about Little Italy in Baltimore and things like that. Well, Clarksburg, West Virginia, which is just south of here, about 10, 15 minutes south of me. That's where I grew up. Okay. And Clarksburg has a huge Italian population.
Yeah.
And there's so many little restaurants and bigger restaurants that's authentic Italian food, and it's so good. So when you go to Olive Garden, it's like, what is this crap?
Yeah, exactly. It's like McDonald's, man.
It's like going to Outback for Australian food.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. So so that's what I was, and I think somebody said, what, I've never been traveling and just looked over to whoever I'm traveling with and said, you know what I really want for dinner? A bunch of breadsticks, as many as I can eat, and a bunch of salad, because that's their thing, endless salad and breadsticks, But
yeah, right.
If you have an entree of especially pasta, and it's a good portion, it is. Who's gonna? There's no room for that, even for somebody that eats a lot, like a big person. There's no. I don't know. So that we were just debating breadsticks. We debated breadsticks for a while.
Well, you know what? There's nothing better to talk about on a music rock and roll podcast than freaking breadsticks, dude.
Hey,
I mean,
the chat was involved. I mean, everybody was. There's two or three things I don't ever talk about, or I try to stay away from.
Okay.
Politics and religion mainly.
Yeah.
Because
breadsticks, man, they're free game.
For sure. Anything. I talked lawnmowers. I got a buddy in London, Tom, that he'll co-host with me. He was on as a guest, a few times, but he'd co-host with me whenever I had bands over in Europe, and me and him talked about lawnmowers for half an hour because they're.
I'll tell you, I got one for you. I got one for you. So
right.
I have a dear friend of mine up in Boise, Idaho. His name's Fred Fisher, and Fred is an amazing drummer, friggin' phenomenal drummer, an incredible drum teacher. Matter of fact, his wife she sang backups on the latest Ruin song that just came out actually yesterday, a song called Shine On Me. She did all the backup vocals on that. Anyway, Fred for a long time had a business doing like high-end landscaping stuff, right? He closed it down, but he used to do that years ago. And if you need to know anything about lawnmowers or drumming, Fred's your guy. Fred's your guy. Yeah, he's the guy.
I could
to
have
talk
used
to.
him when the John Deere went down, but
You know what? I'll give you his number, and you can call him up and tell him Bart sent you, and he'll get you hooked up, man.
we'll just do a show about it, and that way we can teach other people how to fix things also. In the meantime.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Well, you know what I used to tell all of my I still tell my drum students this, unfortunately. Nowadays, there's not like a lot of classes in high school where kids learn mechanics and stuff. But I'd always tell my students, I'm like, look, take a class, take a mechanics class in high school because you're going to need it. And they're like, well, why am I going to need it? And I go, well, first of all, you're playing a drum set, and there's a lot of nuts and bolts, and it's a very mechanical thing. It really is, man. You got
it. The chain in the pedal and everything, yeah.
Dude, right. And you know what? When it's never going to break at rehearsal. It's never going to break when you're playing next door to a guitar center. It's going to break when you're playing a gig out in the middle of nowhere, and you've got to Band-Aid this thing together to get through the gig. And also, and man, I got stories for days.
You're good.
You're going to break down, right? You're going to be on the way to or from a gig, and you're going to be 100 miles from anything that way or 100 miles from anything that way.
By yourself, no help.
Totally. And poof, everything goes wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And you got to be able to, Band-Aid it back together and get to where you're going. So, do a show on mechanics, lawnmowers, whatever. Go for it.
we just talk about the goofiest things on here. It's just the guys from they're kind of a new band. They're called Inside the Trojan Horse, and it's members of Gemini Syndrome. The drummer from Gemini Syndrome is in it, and the guy that played guitar for Filter for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And in a band called Jibe out of Dallas. He's the lead singer in that band. Anyway, they were on the show, and I asked them, what's a good tour story, because they toured with all these bands. They used to play with John 5. That's how they all met.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it was just crazy, like running over a cow on the interstate in their tour van, like things like that. It was just, you'll have to check out that show. It's nuts. But they were these
one time. We were going, check this out. So we're leaving. This is with my band, the Sam Morrison Band. I've been in that band, incidentally, this year will be 26 years I've been in that band.
Okay.
And
that's a long time.
Oh, dude. It's, we
are all the same members in it that were in there 26 years ago? Okay.
No. Sam, the founder of the band.
He's still in it, though, right?
Yeah, he's still in it.
Well, you never know. I mean,
yeah, right. Hey, there's nobody in Foreigner anymore, But Sam's in it, myself, and the bass player is the three of us are the longest. Sam started it, and then I came in probably about 7 years after he started it, and then I brought Gregg in, and we've had a host of other people. And our saxophone player, Carl, he's a smoking saxophone player and just a great dude. Everybody in the band has a nickname, and his nickname's the Duck. And he always jokes about it because he's been in the band for like 16 years, 17 years, something like that. He's like, I've been in here for 17 years and I'm the new guy. And he's from New York. So when he says it, it's like, I'm the new guy. I'm the new guy, So yeah, he's a great dude.
What is your nickname in the band?
Oh my God. Okay. I've got two. I've got the first one is Big Bird, and the second one is Dum Dum.
Do you know why of any of these?
Well, because I'm tall, Big Bird, and Dum Dum because I'm a cartoon fanatic, and we were watching the Flintstones one night in the hotel room. And remember the Great Gazoo? Boom, he pops up, and he always called Fred, "Hey, Dum Dum," and our bass player Greg,
That's right,
he started calling me Dum Dum, and after that, and so it stuck. That, and I can only count to 4 and start over again, So
really, I still count on my fingers. And I have to use I used a calculator before we had one in our hands or in our pockets all the time. I always had I was that guy.
Yeah.
I can't do math. I'm terrible at math. Simple math. Simple math I'm terrible at. I was looking at something here and I can't find it. I was gonna tell you a brief story. So you remember the band Flaw? FLAW. Flaw was around. I mean, they're still around now. They're from Louisville, and they were around. They started around '96. And then they broke up around like 04 ish, and then they got back together again. Now they still tour and things now. Anyway, they a buddy of mine does fundraisers for his cemetery association. They take care of older cemeteries around the area, and it's a nonprofit, so he has to raise money for mowing, gasoline for the mowers and things like that. So he's really into music, and Flaw's like his favorite band of all time. So he got a hold of Chris Bowles, lead singer of Flaw, and got them to come to Clarksburg, our hometown here, and play a show. Hey, Rob. Rob just came.
Hey, man, I tell you, you said Louisville, and as a side note, we play there a lot. Well, not a lot. We played there a handful of times, but we go through there. There's a place called Mercury Ballroom. You ever been there?
I've never been to Louisville. I did have a couple of bands on back to back. They didn't know each other, but they were on back to back shows. And they taught me the real way to say it. And it's not Louisville, it's not Louisville, it's Louisville.
Louisville. My buddy, he plays in the Queers. They're from Louisville. Yeah. So they and well, he's right outside of there, but he says Louisville. There's another town like that in Arizona.
Is it not Louisville? Louisville,
it's not Louisville. It's not Louisville. It's Prescott. But if you say Prescott, off with your
not
head.
Prescott. I thought it was all along.
Nope, it's Prescott. And if you like biscuit.
What about Flagstaff? Is that like Flagstaff?
yeah, Flagstaff. You got to leave your pinky out when you say it.
Flagstick. Yeah, it's Flagstaff.
Flagstaff. Yeah, Alex Martin. Alex Martin. He's a drummer for the Queers, and actually he took some lessons with me. He's one of my drum students. A great guy, and great drummer. And he corrected me. Because I was telling him, hey man, we're going to be in your neck of the woods, and they were on tour, we were on tour, and I said, come on and see the show, and he goes, oh, we're going to be in California, and you're going to be in Kentucky. I go, yeah, we're going to be in Louisville. He goes, no, it's Louisville. Louisville.
Yeah.
It's like
where are you going to be?
What?
Well, when Flaw came and played, of course, Sean made me the MC of this event. I don't have MC qualities. Like I don't want to stand on a stage. I do this. This is about the most stage I want. But so I had some friends do it with me, but just like announce the bands in between the bands. But it was in a theater, and it was metal bands. So it was
cool.
Everybody's seated. All they can do is really stand. They can't even mosh because they're theater. It's really weird, but it worked. But anyway, when Flaw was playing, when they were playing, the drummer lost. I was looking up trying to find his name. I can't remember who it was because I think they might have a different one now, but. He's up on this like riser thing, and I'm on the sides of the stage filming everything I can get. Just great. I mean, I hung out with them all day. They were great people, but something happened to his bass pedal in the middle of a song, like in the middle of it. So he looks right at me and says, "Come here." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, I mean, the stage is massive, so like it's like a stage. Bands that play in arenas, it's like there's so much space in between every musician, That's what it was like, and he's just in the middle. I'm like, and there's no like pyrotechnics or anything. I mean, there's lights and things, but like nothing that could like hide me from being seen,
No explosions to hide behind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some kind of a dancer or something. Yeah, I could dance out with anybody, and try to hide. So I'm like, now, and he's like, yeah, come on. And like I could tell something was wrong because the sound, you can still hear it. So I just took off, and I'm 6'3". I'm really skinny and lanky. Everybody saw me. Everybody did.
Yeah.
And I went over there and I got behind his set, and I'm like, "What's up?" And he's playing. They're playing on, and he's like yelling at me because I'm like I knelt down right beside him, and he's like my something about like. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like my pedal. And I looked down and I knew exactly, because I used to play drums too. I knew what a pedal should look like, and it didn't look like. I can't. He was missing it was like a one bolt,
Yeah.
and it had flung. He's like, see if you can find it down there. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah,
Now I
good
gotta
luck.
be a scavenger hunt underneath your drum set while you're playing, and everybody's looking at me. Just the lights are right here. I never did find it, but so they finally they ended that song, and I was like, I can't find it anywhere. It must have just. Who knows? I mean, something that small.
Oh yeah, and if in my mind's eye, I can imagine that probably the bolt that holds the beater in.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
It happened.
It just wasn't. So I was like, so we're troubleshooting it as Chris Bolt's lead singer is just talking to the audience, because he's gotten the feel that something has happened, and it needs to be fixed. So. I was like, so what can I do to help you? I was like, because the other bands had left for some reason that had other drum sets. There was 2 other drum sets there, and for some reason they had to go or something. And he's like, "Do you have any duct tape?" I was like, "You're in West Virginia, buddy. We definitely have duct tape in my truck. I'll be right back." That's how we fixed it.
That's it, man.
With West Virginia duct. I don't know if it was West Virginia duct tape, but it was West Virginia duct tape.
Hey man, duct tape is what holds rock and roll together. You know what I mean?
If it wasn't for duct tape, then rock and roll would be all not together.
It would. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, duct tape is what holds rock.
I like your
and roll
desk,
together.
by the way. I wish my desk looked like that.
Oh, here, this guy.
Yeah.
That's my matter of
Sounds
fact.
terrific.
I sent you a text.
Yes.
Right before I was doing a session, and I looked over at my phones right here, and I looked over. I was like, oh shit, and I got to be on. Oh, can I say shit?
Yes, you can say anything you want. Just don't shoot up heroin or anything.
I won't do that. That was last week. No,
Hey, real quick, Fred Fisher is in the chat.
Fred Fisher's in the chat.
I just
Okay,
know, look, I'm
now's
sorry,
your
Fred,
chance.
I saw you in there.
Now's your chance. Ask him about John Deere tractors. Go.
He said he's not a mower mechanic.
He's not a mower
That's
mechanic.
what he says.
Yeah. He. Okay. He's a
I'm
hell
sorry
of
to
a
interrupt you
drummer.
there, but I wanted to mention that.
Well, Fred is the salt of the earth. He and his wife. Fred had an accident this year. He was at a drum competition with his son back in Indiana, and he broke his knee really bad. The poor guy. And so he's just getting back up and running as far as doing gigs, and he's been teaching and stuff like that. But man, he just wiped himself out. And the poor guy, he's back up and running and doing some gigs, and he's just a dear friend. He watches our podcast. I have a podcast called Drummers Education Connection. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
And he's actually been a co-host on that, and great guy. So Fred's a great dude. Fred, thank you for watching my fine.
Yeah, Fred, thanks. Hit subscribe.
Hit subscribe.
I get them.
Get the bell so you get notifications, all that sort of stuff.
Well, just turn the bell off. I mean, I tell people that too. I was like, you don't even have to have notifications on. Just turn them off if you don't ever want to watch again. But just keep your subscription up there because it helps me,
Yeah, exactly.
I guarantee you want to watch it again. Who wouldn't?
Who would not want to watch me and you
I mean, I could
blabber
debate
about
breadsticks if you
John
really
Deere
want
tractors
or breadsticks.
or breadsticks and salad. Yeah. Oh, dude, there's an album name, Breadsticks and Salad.
Or a punk band name, like group name.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to talk to Alec and say, hey, Breadsticks and Salad, let's start a new band. 2 drummers. Like a punk band. Yeah, it'd be cool.
Maybe Sam Morrison would want to do an album called that and just make it like a food.
Sam's definitely
album.
that band, Sam Morrison band. We are like the way it started out years ago was when I first got in the band. It was a country band.
I can hear that. I could hear a little bit of that in the music.
Yeah, and then it went from that. It morphed into this Southern rock thing, which has been magnificent.
Yes.
And has just done really well. And he's definitely he's more of a biscuits and gravy kind of guy. But
so am I.
Breadsticks. Oh, dude, who doesn't like biscuits and gravy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but breadsticks.
So he
and
wouldn't
salad.
be a breadsticks and salad kind of guy then.
No, he'd do breadsticks and salad. Yeah,
but not from Olive Garden.
No, well,
if you guys come through here, we're not going to Olive Garden. I'll tell you that much.
Thank God. We'll go somewhere else.
Authentic.
We can go anywhere you want.
The authentic places. We'll hit them all. I'll
Yep,
just have them all cater. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It's finicky.
Yeah, it
Spinning.
fell apart. Luckily, it fell apart before you went live.
That
right?
didn't happen. What are you talking about?
It didn't
Nothing fell
happen.
apart. Nothing
Bad
happened.
things never happen.
Yeah,
on
Rob,
live.
where were you? Like right before I went live, I needed you here. Let me do this real fast. Let me hit the right button for the opening.
Broadcasting from Shinston, West Virginia, here's your host, Scott Arnold.
That's what I was supposed to play. I hit the right button.
Perfect. Now we can go.
Yeah. Okay, now welcome, Bart. No.
Let's start over. Everybody out. Come
I
back.
was going to do that last night because I forgot to hit the on-air button for my microphone. So I'm sitting here talking and nobody can hear me. Not the first time.
That happens.
See, when Rob used to be Rob plays guitar in Deviant Cause, the band that I was telling you about on Messenger before, and he's probably you're my best friend, Rob. He just made a few words, but no. When I first started doing this show, Rob helped me with the sound because I didn't know I still don't know what I'm doing, but whenever I have questions, I yield to him because he usually knows the answer, or he'll just look it up on YouTube and somebody else will teach him. And then, anyway, so yeah, I could use you back, Rob, if you got some time. Crickets.
I would, but I'm going out for breadsticks and salad, man. It's Friday night.
I can't pay you, but I can get you some coupons for Olive Garden if you'd like. I think they're going to be sponsoring me after the amount of mentions for me there tonight. I think they're going to sponsor me.
I think the amount of mentions between your last show, from what you said, and tonight's show, I think you should get an endorsement. And then maybe they can up their game from
you would think
and salad.
Yeah, because I don't want to represent them if they suck.
Right? Exactly. That's not why we have.
Have you guys, with your podcast, have you looked up? I know you probably through your drumming and stuff have sponsorships through your drumming, but what about for your podcast?
Yeah, we have. So the podcast, I'm endorsed by Gretsch Drums, and all of us have different endorsements, but the one endorsement that all four of us share the same is Aquarian Drumheads. And so from the beginning, Aquarian Drumheads has been sponsoring the show. And then Gretsch Drums came on board. I've been with Gretsch since 2007, and they came on board last year. And then we went to PASIC. PASIC, as well as where Fred's incident is in Indiana. And PASIC is the Percussive Art Society International Convention. It's a big drum thing. It's like the NAMM show, but just drums. Yeah. And that was in Indiana back in November, and we went and we picked up an endorsement deal and a sponsorship with a company called In-Ears Monitors and Audix microphones. This is an Audix mic here, and it's actually separate from my headphones. But,
okay. Yeah, I thought it was like one of those.
No. This is just like a regular vocal mic, and then I've got a new.
You wear that when you play?
No, you know what? I don't sing.
Okay.
So, but I do use in-ear monitors, and I just got. A matter of fact, just yesterday I ordered my new in-ears, my in-ear by In-Ears. It's INEARZ.
Do they actually conform to your specific ear?
Yeah, what they do is there's two different ways they can do it. Like if you get in-ear monitors, they can do a laser mold thing where they do this laser thing and they laser your ear and the mold fits right in your ear.
They're
and
expensive.
Then they have another one where they shove this goo in your ear and you literally go deaf. It looks like a pencil eraser, but it's not. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah. But they shove that in your ear canal, then they shove this goo in your ear. And then you have to bite on this thing and hold your mouth open because you have to have your mouth open.
Yeah.
For your ear canals to be open. They shove this stuff in your ear.
There's got to be something on YouTube I can watch this.
Dude, you know what was so embarrassing about that? So they did this to me on the floor at the PASIC show, right? Yeah. During the convention, right? So you're sitting there and
you're the guinea pig.
You got this thing in your mouth like this.
No, that's hilarious.
And then you got all this shit in your ears. You can't hear anything. If you move your mouth, if you say anything. On film? Nobody got this. It screws up your molds. So, and I don't know if you've just sat there with your mouth open like that for 5 minutes. Dude, you start drooling.
Yeah.
And you got shit. It's horrible.
Yeah. The dentist is the best.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like that, but without the drilling. Yeah. So anyway, so I got some new monitors coming, and I'm excited about that.
Well,
And
how long does that have to happen to your, that procedure? How long does that take place?
oh, like just till the stuff like kind of
Until
hardens.
they're
And
pleased with it?
yeah, exactly. And they pull it. But the cool thing about it is, like, they fit when you put them in. If you've never used any of your monitors, when you put them in, like
Haven't.
dude, you
Like,
can't hear anything outside.
I can't
But
stand
then
to
when you
wear
plug
like
them in,
earplugs at
really?
shows, and I should wear. I go to a ton of shows, and whether to film or just to go.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to one next week, and earplugs would be great, but I just can't stand that in there. And I don't want to wear these, like
Right.
moron, look like a little.
Well, you know what? And I sound like I guess I am a spokesperson for them, but
Yes, you are. Yeah, go ahead.
but the in-ears have these earplugs, right? And dude, I am not kidding you, Scott. You put them in, and they muffle everything, but you can still hear everything. And if you and I were in a room together talking, and I mean just talking with those things in, you'd still be able to hear each other. It has, and it's just this technology they use. They're great. They're really good. It's a great product. I really believe in it. And so if anybody's out there in the market for a set of in-ear monitors or anything like that,
How
the guy
affordable are they? Just for people.
they're pricey. I mean, the like the top end, they have 11 drivers in them, and they're like probably $1,800.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but then
But
they
if
go
you
down
really
from there.
want something like that, that would be a good investment for sure.
It's a great investment. And what I found, years ago, I started developing tinnitus really bad. And, I mean, years of, drumming and Marshall amplifiers and everything. And I was, man, I'm going to be deaf within 5 years. And so I switched over and I bought this little $100 pair of Shure monitors just to see if I liked them. And
Mhm.
man, I never turned back. And at first I was really picky about it. Like it had to, well, I'm very fortunate now. I'm kind of in this perfect world scenario. So I run my own mix. We all have a little tablet on the side. We run our own mixes and it's really great. Um, but it definitely saves your hearing. And it's like when you put them in and you got your volume knob, it's like playing to an album. It just sounds
Yeah.
like you got on a set of headphones, you're playing to an album. And then we have mics on the front of the stage, so it picks up the audience too, so you don't feel isolated,
Oh,
right?
nice. So it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like you're just in a room by yourself. Yeah.
There,
Or you
when we
hear
before
them.
we
Yeah.
got this really good in-ear system where we're carrying our own, we carry our own in-ear monitor system with us
Sure.
on the
Yeah.
road, and so takes, our sound checks are fast. Um, our load in's a little bit longer
Do you have your
than
own
a lot of
sound
people.
person that rolls with?
No, we have for the Sam Morrison band. We travel with. We're all self-contained. Everything's 100% self-contained, and I mean everything. Our drum mics, everything. The sound guy, the sound person needs to plug in. That's it. All the mics are internal on my drums. I don't have overheads for the cymbals. I have underheads. You just got to plug in the kit, plug in the guitars, and plug into what's called our splitter snake. And the splitter snake separates the audio from the front and the back, go front of house to the back of the stage. And so they can't control our monitors and we can't control their board. And so what we do is it takes us about 2 hours realistically to load in, set up, and be ready to do sound check. But once we do sound check, it's 2 songs and we're done.
Yeah.
And
It it's probably a good thing, it helps the whoever's running sound at wherever you're at, going, oh, well, okay, awesome, like I don't have to do much at all. Yeah.
In all the years of doing it that way, and all the years of having my drums internally mic'd. And I'm really fortunate that I'm endorsed by Audix microphones. I love the
Badass, yeah.
Audix drum lines, drum mics. I've had one guy, and you're always going to have that one guy that no matter what you do, he's not going to be happy. One guy,
Yeah.
and he was complaining about, I don't know what he's complaining about, but he's like, well, this and that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And everybody else, so 99% of the people are like, that is the easiest, best sound I've ever ran because it isolates the drum mics from the guitar amps, and it's, it just makes life really easy. So
I think
yeah,
that's the
great.
toughest thing when, I talked to a lot of bands that DIY their recordings, like just at home or wherever they go to practice.
Yeah.
And a lot of these bands are turning to digital drum sounds because it's so difficult to properly mic your drums unless you go to a studio and they know what they're.
If you I've been doing this literally my entire adult life. And again, I've been the Sam Morrison band. I've been in that band for 26 years.
Take a drink. You're talking a lot.
Right. So it was you learn a thing or two, in that amount of years. And so the band is, I'm so happy to say the band is really, the musicianship is so good. And when I say that, I'm not like, the guys in the band are great players. And Sam says this, but I feel the same way. I've always thought if you get in a band, you want to have the musicians around you be better than you because you lift yourself up to their level, right? So if I'm got a kick-ass guitar player and a kick-ass bass player and all the musicians around me are just killing it and crushing it every night, I'm driving the boat, man. So I better bring it every night, And so I'm really proud of that group. And then my side project, The Ruins, the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, those guys. The first album, Todd was not on the first album. He came in after the first album. He's our singer, Todd McTavish. And he is such a great singer, and he's so charismatic, man. The guy is just, you put him on a stage, and he just shines like a diamond. And so that band too, and the musicianship's great, the songwriting's great, and so I'm really I've got the best of both worlds.
I feel like we should play a song.
Yeah,
people know what we're talking about, and I kind of want to. Well, we can do it any order that you want, but I had Sam Morrison up first.
Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah. So, do you have? I think
Who Shot John? Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Who Shot John? Yeah. Go for it.
So, Who Shot John? What is this about? Do you know what this is about?
I do know what this is about.
Or do you want to wait until after we hear it, or do you want?
Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. You don't haven't watched any of the little short videos on Facebook or anything?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Really listen closely to the lyrics, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. You tell me what you think it's about after you listen to it.
All right, do that. Okay. All right, here is Bart's. How should I introduce this? This is is this your main gig or?
Yeah, Sam Morrison Band. Yeah, 26 years. If you go to my Facebook page and you go and Bart Robley and you see me on Facebook, I've got picture me playing drums as my picture, and then the background picture is a big, What
are the chances I could get Sam Morrison on this show?
Oh, really good.
You think he would be on?
Oh, I know he would. Yeah.
All right. We'll talk.
I absolutely know he would. He's a great dude. Great dude.
Here's Who Shot John, and we'll figure this out after we hear it.
Bootleg moonshine, call me what you will. It's hard to make a living way up in the hills. An old family recipe Granddaddy taught to me. What gets us through the hard times, is tax-free. 'Cause there's lots of thirsty people passing Mason-Dixon line with pockets full of money, but they ain't got no shine. We call it Who Shot John? Who Shot John? Got 150 gallons of Who Shot John? Who shot John? Who shot John? Now I'm headed for Chicago with Who Shot John. think it would. A little bit'll do you, a lot'll do you good. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. There's lots of easy money making homemade brew. Cause there's lots of thirsty people passing Mason-Dixon line with pockets full of money, but they ain't got no shine. Call me Who Shot John? Who Shot John? Got 150 gallons of Who Shot John? Who Shot John? Who Shot John? Now I'm off to Cincinnati with Who Shot John. One step ahead of the lawman. There's one thing that he don't know. What keeps one man from another is just how far that man is willing to go. Shot John? Who shot John? Got 150 gallons of Who Shot John? Who shot John? Who shot John? Now I'm headed for Chicago. Who shot John? Who shot John? Got 150 gallons of Who shot John? Who shot John? Who shot John? Cincinnati with Who Shot John.
Okay, I only have one question.
Yep.
Are they going to Cincinnati? Are they going to Chicago? Where? I don't know.
Any place they can sell it. Any place they can sell it.
Is it moonshine?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So Sam's from Ohio. Actually, Sam grew up in Kentucky. He's from Middletown, Ohio. Grew up in Kentucky, around that whole area right in there.
Okay.
So, moonshiners back there, they make moonshine, and I don't know if you've ever drank moonshine. I quit drinking 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But, you drink enough moonshine.
You drink a little bit of moonshine in your.
You drink a little bit of moonshine and you're out, and that's the thing. You see some guy laying on the floor. Hey, who shot John? And he passed out. So,
okay.
So that's where it came from, and so it was a song. Sam wrote it, and we kind of had it. We worked it up, and then we changed it. We worked up and we changed it, and then we were doing. Actually, we were doing that album, the Unfinished Business record. And I recorded the drums to that song on the stage in the main showroom at the Riverside Casino in Laughlin, Nevada. Because what we have a residency there, right?
Never heard of Laughlin. I've heard of Reno and Las Vegas.
Oh, dude, Laughlin is awesome. Laughlin is on the Colorado River. It's right outside. It's like an hour. Well, probably about 45 minutes from Bullhead City.
Okay.
Now. And man, it's just a cool little town, and it's all river rats, right? Just everybody, like you get up, like as soon as before the sun comes up, there's people on boats and jet skis just hauling ass up and down, and they have a ton of fun. And we go out there usually once a year, and we do a residency out there for 5 nights. It's either 5 or 6 nights. Nice. And matter of fact, we're going to be there in March for 5 nights. Is
it warm enough to jet ski in March out there?
Oh yeah.
We're still at the end of winter. We're in the tail end of winter at that point.
Well, I'm originally from Colorado, so I know
that's
what
right.
That's all about.
I definitely wanted to dive into that. From you grew up on a ranch? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I grew up on a cattle ranch. Yeah.
What kind of did they sell the cattle for beef, or what kind of a
little bit of
operation?
It was mostly beef. It was called Appledore Ranch, and it was just apple orchards everywhere, and we had beef cows, and they were mostly Herefords. We had a little bit of Angus, and sold beef, and we had a little bit of dairy, and then there was a ranch right next to ours called Red Mesa Ranch, and I worked there as a ranch hand growing up. I also worked on our ranch, and did a little, milk cows and chickens and eggs and painted and fixed fences and just did all that.
You wanted to get out of that
stuff.
and play drums for a living, right?
Well, you know what? It was
did that come
kind of
about?
crazy
Like,
the way it happened, but yeah, that's that way. I literally I've been doing this since I was 5 years old, and it was great growing up there because I there was no neighbors to go shut the fuck up. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
no,
Yeah, I
I
hate
didn't
that.
bug anybody. So I'd
It's always
get
the
in there.
drummer that gets everybody in trouble.
Oh, dude, yeah. And everything that happens on the face of the earth that goes wrong, it's the drummer's fault.
Well, not always, but more often than not, it is. Yeah.
More often than not, yeah. But yeah, so
How did you make it
yeah.
out to California from the ranch? How did
Well,
why did your parents let you leave? Because usually the family help is the best help to have, right? 'Cause
Right.
how the
it was so the ranch, the short condensed version of it was my great grandfather homesteaded the ranch in the late 1800s. Well, he was born in the late 1800s. Into the early 1900s, he homesteaded this ranch, a place called Deer Creek Canyon, Colorado. It's outside of Littleton. I actually graduated from Columbine High School.
Oh no! Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. What do you say to that? Like,
Oh, dude,
that was my senior year of high school is when that happened.
Yeah, okay, so I was out for a while, but yeah, it was I was coming home for lunch. You know what? I was on my way
But you were
home.
out there still. You were still there.
No, I was in California.
Okay,
I was in
yeah.
California. And I'm driving it was before we had their house in Fullerton. I'm driving home. It's like, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was stuck in LA traffic, right? So I turned on talk radio, like, okay, and this is, a billion years ago, so there's no GPS, and I'm like,
And it was
how the-
radio.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, okay, what's going on with the traffic? And they break in. They say, there's been a shooting at a school in a town that is a suburb of Denver called Littleton. And I thought to myself, that'd be weird if it was Columbine. And so, but Littleton, it's Littleton, but there's still, it's a sprawling, city, and there's a few high schools there. And so I walk in the front door to the house, and my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, she points to the TV and she goes, look, and they had the camera zoomed in on Columbine. I was like, oh my God, and so it went on to it was Columbine, and it was like, the most, notorious, horrible thing that happened. And, so anyway, but the ranch, it was, anyway, so my great grandfather homesteaded the ranch and grew up there real close to the earth doing that whole thing. And my mom was an Elvis freak, man. I mean, so much so. Okay, she always had Elvis on, right? I really, really thought, I'm not kidding, Scott. I really thought that if you listened to music, you heard music from two places. You heard it from Elvis, or you heard it from the lady that played the piano in the back of the church. That's where music came from.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Right?
That makes sense, yeah. And
Totally.
it's good stuff.
So, and I'm a little kid. I'm this little kid, and mom's always. You remember the old, like the old record players where you'd stack records up. She just stack a bunch of records on there, and all day, Elvis, all day. Records would run out. She'd turn them over, go to the next side, Elvis. All
There's
day,
no other
right?
records. It was just Elvis.
It was just Elvis.
Did
so
you search
much
for
so.
other things? Did you search for others?
Well, I didn't, dude. I
you weren't allowed. You weren't allowed to get near it.
Exactly. So my dad comes home, right? This was before my mom and dad get divorced. My dad comes home, and he has two records, okay? He has Tom Jones, and he has Jim Croce's greatest hits.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right? So Dad puts on Tom Jones, and now check this out. This is really what went through my head. He puts on Tom Jones, and it starts playing, and I'm like, man, Elvis sounds weird. I wonder if he had a cold. That's how naive I was. I was this little kid. And so then I was like, oh, anybody can do this, right? Anybody can play music. It's not just Elvis.
Not just, you just don't have to do it in church. I mean, you don't have to. You can, but
yeah. So I get to so this is really young. This is a super early memory, right? And so so Mom always had Elvis going, and I'm always dancing and running around and singing and banging on stuff. And so he comes to town and he plays at the Denver Coliseum. And matter of fact, I Googled it. I had the date because I Googled it one time and looked it up when he played there, and I got the date and everything because this is how poignant it was to me. So that was my first concert, was Elvis Presley, right?
You don't want to know mine.
So my mom takes me, my mom and my dad take me to go to see Elvis. And so this comedian guy comes out and he does his skit, and I don't care about him. Well, then the lights go out, and the Sweet Inspirations, who were his backup singers, they come on and start doing hits of the day, like a lot of Motown stuff and stuff.
Kind of like a cover band kind of deal.
Yeah, it was total cover band. His band, the orchestra, everything, Elvis's band's up there, and Sweet Inspirations were singing, and it was so freaking loud. I'm like, oh my God, this is the loudest thing I've ever heard. And then, so I don't know how long they played, probably 20 minutes, who knows?
Long enough, right?
Right. And then all of a sudden it goes into 2001 Space Odyssey, and Elvis walks out on stage, and it was like a freaking bomb went off. I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, but it's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And people around me are losing their freaking mind.
Crying and screaming.
Oh, dude, crying and screaming and passing out, fucking just losing it, And I'm like, this is really cool. And
I want to be like that.
Yeah. So a few weeks later, the really famous concert, Elvis Aloha from Hawaii, comes on TV, right? So this is after the concert, and there's a camera, and it's right behind Ronnie Tutt. And he had all this long hair and a beard, and he had this big blue Ludwig drum set, and he's back there playing, and his hi-hat's going, right? And the camera, you can't see his leg, but you see the hi-hat, right? And I'm like, is he doing that, or is that
what's happening? Yeah,
dude, I'm focused on that hi-hat, and so I was just, that's it, that's what I want to do. So my whole life growing up, even though I was on the ranch, and it was really, that's what I wanted to do. And so there was a big long chain of events, and everything like that bad that happens with families happened with my family, and so people die and things get dropped and down through the family, and greed and money and all that sort of stuff. And so once I got to the point where I was like, I've got to spread my wings, and I really don't want to get up and, do this anymore. At 4 a.m. And my mom, they had a little piece of property, and they left it, and they sold it and left and moved away. And then, I was living in Denver at the time, and I had a friend out here in LA who was in a band, and they needed a drummer. And the first snowstorm hit. I kind of already had it in my mind. I was like, well, I'm either going to go to LA, or I'm thinking, or I'll go to New York, because the coast, Nashville didn't register with me at all. It didn't come into my radar for some reason. And this was at the height of the 80s hair metal stuff and everything. It was kind of at the tail end of that. And I was like, well, I can move to LA and go do the Sunset Strip thing and try to make something happen there. Or I can go to New York and do the jazz thing. But if I go to New York, I'm going to freeze my ass off. And I'm tired of freezing my ass off again. So, and all these visions of, the beach and palm trees and, girls in bikinis and stuff. And I'm like, let's go to LA. So took everything I had, shoved it into
I'm sure New York has girls in bikinis, but not certain times of the year.
Yeah, for like a week.
Yeah, it's not very often.
So I got out here, and when I landed out here, what wouldn't fit in my little Datsun station wagon stayed in Colorado.
Datsun, yes. Was it a Brat?
No, that was a Subaru Brat. No,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Subaru.
I had a Datsun. It was a Datsun 510. I took all
Nice.
my drums and I took the heads off and shoved my clothes in there and put those in the
There
car.
you go. It's a suitcase right there.
Yeah, everything that could. I just packed this thing, and I even put the spare tire on the roof, man. It
Yeah,
was
because
so
it was in the
jet
way.
slant, but
It was in the
yeah,
way. Yeah.
it was, man.
You probably didn't even
But
need it anyway,
yeah,
right?
I didn't, thank
Yeah.
God, thank God. But yeah, came out here, and all these years later, I've
Did you go
managed
back?
to.
Oh, like, did you ever go back, like, for an extended period of time? I mean, I'm sure you went back to visit, but, like,
Yeah, I go back to visit, but I don't like, you know,
did you move? I mean,
I would never live back there again. You know, I
did you
love
have
it.
your, like, second thoughts early on in the move? Like, after you were freshly moved from there, did you, at any time, did you sit there and go, this was a bad idea?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I remember when I got to LA, I left on a Wednesday, and I got here on Friday, and I landed in a town called Garden Grove, and I just pulled onto the Garden Grove freeway, the 22 freeway, at like 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon in LA traffic, and it was
Yeah.
like I fucking landed on Mars, man. I was like, what the hell happened? All these people, and so that was a shock. And then I was living I rented a one bedroom, like I rented a room in this girl's condo in a town called La Habra. And there was a point where I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. It's so hard out here. And in Colorado, you're the big fish in the little pond, and I could, I played in bands and people knew who I was, and I was giving drum lessons, and out here I had to have a day job, and I was giving drum lessons, and I'm playing in a band. And again, this was like back in the late '80s, early '90s, and band you had to sell tickets, so it was basically like a pay to play thing. And I played all the clubs up and down the Sunset Strip. I did that whole thing. And then finally, slowly but surely, started getting my legs underneath me, and I'm really glad now, hindsight being 2020, that I didn't go back. But there was a point where I was like, man, maybe I should just go home. But I knew some guys that.
What motivated you to stay when you got that thought?
What motivated me to stay? I had met my now wife at the time, and I was starting to get my feet underneath me as far as like just okay, I can afford an apartment now. I don't, and I started making a little bit of a name for myself around the club circuit that I was playing.
That's
And
good.
I was and the club circuit out here was like way different, right? I mean, it was just way and I mean it was like the real thing, like if you were either going to make it or you weren't. You were going to have success or you weren't going to have any success. And okay, I'll give you a perfect example. One night we were playing at the Troubadour, okay,
What are the
up on
Troubadour?
Santa Monica. Troubadour is, world
Iconic.
famous place. Yeah,
Yeah.
iconic place. It's just down on Santa Monica and Doheny, basically, just a few miles away from like the Whiskey and Gazar, where Gazars used to be,
Whiskey
and
a
the
Go-Go.
Rocks.
That's what I was thinking in my mind just a minute ago.
Yeah, Whiskey's up on Sunset. Played there 100 times,
It's an iconic venue also.
Oh yeah, yeah. So anyway, we're playing at the Troubadour, and they had this thing, and I want to think it was I think it was a Wednesday night. I don't remember. And it was called the No Bozos Jam. And
What?
you would, yeah,
What
and
is
it
it?
was they
No
would,
Bozos?
yeah, no bozos. And so they had a back line, so they had a drum kit and guitar amps and
Like an open
everything.
mic then, kind of
Yeah,
deal?
it's kind of like an open mic thing, And you got up there with your band, and you got 15 minutes. So I mean, and the 15 minutes started the second you walked on stage.
Be
So
ready.
you didn't, yeah, you don't go
Yeah.
up there and fart around and try to get everything. You sit down and you play.
Yeah.
And that was so educational. It
Yeah.
was so educational, right? Because you just got to sit down and throw down, right?
Yeah.
And so we're playing, and I had the flu. Like I had
Oh,
the
no.
fever, and I felt like crap. And the guy that booked the place, really nice guy, And that was within this band I was in. My job was to deal with the troubadour. That was my job outside of playing drums. And so Lance, he was the guy that booked the place. I still remember his name. He comes up, he goes, Bart, he goes, there's this band from Seattle, and they just got signed to a record label, and they're like 3 bands after you. You should stick around and hear them because I heard them earlier, and man, they're really good, and I think you'll dig them. And I'm sick as a dog. I'm like, dude, I got the flu. I don't want to stick around. He goes, pretty good. I go, what's the name of the band? He goes, they're called Pearl Jam. And I go, that's the stupidest name I've ever heard. They're never going to do anything.
Famous last words.
Right. So anyway, so
Please
that
tell me you
was
stuck
kind
around.
of the
Please tell me.
thing where those bands, like I remember like.
Did you stick around though? Hold on. Did you stick around?
No, I left. I got done. I was gone. So, but
I gotta
you know,
go.
now I'm like, why didn't I do that?
I was waiting for you to say like Nirvana or I knew it was going to be somebody huge, but I was also waiting for you to say and I stuck around even though I felt like crap. But none of that. Well,
Yeah, right. I know. I fell flat.
You probably
But
could have
yeah,
met them.
that
That would have
was
been
the
your start.
stuff.
That would have been your career jump off right there with Pearl Jam.
Right.
You could have been the Pearl Jam drummer.
Right. Who knew?
But
you
stick around.
But yeah, right. I should have stuck around. But they had, it was kind of that. So LA was tough, and LA was, it was, I mean, all the bands that like were playing the clubs were bands that were, if they were still doing clubs, they were also doing arenas. Like
Oh, okay. Yeah, they were doing
like
both.
Jezebel's down in Anaheim. It's no longer there. They tore it down, but that was like the Orange County version of the whiskey.
Okay.
And dude, Slayer and Metallica played there like all the time. Metallica, when I saw them on the Master of Puppets tour, when they opened to Ozzy with Cliff Burton, and the bus crash happened and Cliff got killed.
Oh, that's right.
And then, matter of fact, that somebody just posted it on YouTube. You can see it, Metallica at Jezebel's, and it was Jason Newsted's first gig with the band.
Oh,
And it was
that would
like
be good
after
watch.
they just got done doing this huge arena tour, and that was kind of the thing. It was like, okay, this is real. It's touchable. It's tangible. And then once I got into Sam's band, and I played in 2 bands. I played in a band called Blue Max, and I really learned a lot in that band.
Is there a band that you were in that you were just so the name of it was just like cringy?
I was in a
Does that
band
make you play with a
called,
lot of-
there was a band called War Crime that I was in, and I thought that name was stupid.
Was it like punk or something?
No, it was a metal band.
Okay.
It was a metal
It's not,
band.
it's not terrible, but like it's just kind of like why?
Yeah, right, exactly. And
Yeah.
the bass player came up with it, and it was an okay band. I mean, we had our moment, but what happened was the metal thing had totally run its course.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was tired of it. And we were playing with War Crime. We were playing the biggest place we played was, it's now called the Observatory. It's a place called the Galaxy in Santa Ana.
These places sound like so great compared to.
Oh, they really truly are. Like the Galaxy, that was a really great place to play. And okay, well, on that note, I remember when I first moved to LA, I thought to myself, I want to go to Gazzari's because I'm a Van Halen freak, right? And that was the club that Van Halen made it out of. So I'm like, I got to go to Gazzari's. I got to go. And
Yeah.
so the guy that was a singer for the band, he took me up to Hollywood, and there's Gazzari's, and sure enough, there's a picture of David Lee Roth on the side painted. I was like, oh my God, there it is. So we go inside, and I'm like, this is it. What a
What a dump.
but the whiskey's kind of that's the thing that I learned with those bands, is that those clubs are real down
That's
and dirty,
underground right there.
gritty, underground rock and roll, piss on the floor, puke on the stairs, That's what I did.
There's a place like that in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was just there for the fourth time. I did this. I did some videography for a band that I know out of Pittsburgh, Rain Z, and I joined them on the last 4 dates of their tour. And I met them in Charlotte, and then we went up the East Coast. Yeah. But the place in Charlotte's called the Milestone, and it's iconic. It's not really much to see when you go in there, but
yeah.
Nirvana's played there. They recorded a live album there. It's very rare. It's hard to find. I don't even know what it's called. REM's played there. I mean, they have it listed on their website of all the bands that have played there. I mean, just some you never even heard of, probably aren't even together anymore, but many that you do know really well, you know, and it's just like, and standing in there, and they just had a documentary released, and I haven't seen it yet. It's not like out anywhere. You have to go watch it, I think, at this point. But the place is just, it's covered in stickers, band stickers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Covered, like the floor, the stage is covered. Everywhere you look, there's an Keep Me Alive sticker. It's not this one here. I'll send you out some, Bart, but
cool. It's
not this one. This is a newer one. It's not this one, but it's the old. It's probably in the drawer. It's the old logo that I had that I didn't own. That's why I rebranded last year.
Oh, okay.
But it's the old logo. It's in one of the bathrooms at the Milestone. But when I was just down there in October, the bartender told me that they had to paint in the bathroom. I'm like, you're not allowed to paint over stickers. That's like sacrilege. What do you mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if mine got. I didn't check, but it might still be in there. Now I didn't put a new one up, but not yet. I will go back. I will be back there.
To places
that
like
place
that,
is badass though. Like that.
Yeah.
That's one of those places. Like as soon as I found it, it was before I even needed to go there for any I was just doing the show, and it was just. But there was a band that I'd had on that was getting ready to play there, and that's how I landed down there the first time. But it's just when I got on that website, I'm seeing all this stuff like this place is iconic. You know, I made this whole clip of me walking in there and everything, and there's really nothing to see when you walk in there other than stickers from. It would take you years to look at all of them. I mean, and I've taken snapshots of it, but then I don't go back and even look at the picture. It's just you got to stand there. You got to stand there and just is like.
Well, it's like the whiskey. When you walk into the whiskey, man, you just soak it in. I remember the first time I walked onto that stage to play. I mean, there's so many ghosts in that room. I mean, you can feel them. I remember sitting. Yeah. Oh, dude! I sat on the stage and I'm like, "This is where the Doors played, man. This is heavy. This is
so I better be good, damn it! All right?
Oh, dude, yeah, right. You don't walk onto that stage and go, I can't hear. Can you turn up the singer in the monitor because I can't? Yeah, you don't do that crap. That's that to me is, and it's still like we played there last year. We were on a tour, and we came home, and we had. I don't know. We had it wasn't very long. We were home for a week, and we did a gig up at the Whiskey. And every time you play there, man, it's really hip. It's just a cool place.
Like magical almost.
It really is. And when you're, I don't know. I'm such a nerd about it. When you walk in, when you're in the dressing room, you're like, wow, this is where,
You have to almost. I mean, I don't think that makes you nerdly. I mean, why would it make you nerd? I don't know nerdly is a word, but it is now.
It is now. I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's nerdly at all because it's an iconic venue, and regardless of what it looks like, the people that have walked past the same places that you're walking past or sitting in or anything, that's it's nostalgic and it's iconic. It's just like. How can you can't just sit there and just brush it off like it's nothing?
Yeah, there's a place in Anaheim, and it's still there. It used to be called Linda's Doll Hut, but now it's just called the Doll Hut. And it's a
sounds like a strip joint.
It does, but it's a punk place, right?
Oh, okay.
And it was and think about all the legendary punk bands from LA, like Agent Orange and
everybody.
All those bands, dude, they all played there. And when you go in there, you talk about stickers or stickers in the toilet. Bands would literally stick their stickers inside the toilet, And so, the Doll Hut's really cool. They it's kind of like Orange County's thing, but it's all punk. And now what they did is they've
got their
moved the
own
stage
scene,
outside.
basically.
Yeah. And so, but it's cool. And so yeah, so that was kind of, anyway, long story of, we went around there. But yeah, that's kind of how I got. Once I got into Sam Morrison Band, though, because the way it happened, Sam, he calls me. He and I made friends. He came into this place I used to work at back before I could earn a living playing music and teaching music and stuff. He came into where I worked. I worked at a place called Orange County Speaker. We repaired PA speakers and monitors and everything. And he brought in some speakers to repair, and we got to talking, and we just like hit it off. And he told me he was in a band and all this stuff. And so he calls me up one day and he goes, "Hey, look, I need a sub on this gig." And I'm playing in a metal band, and they were like a country band at the time. And I was like, I didn't want to do it because I thought I was going to suck, but I went and I did it.
Yeah.
And thank God I did. So, because I did like 2 or 3 sub gigs with him. And then he calls me up. He goes, "Man, I got this gig up in Oregon, and it's a one-nighter. It's a fly-in and a fly-out, and we're opening to Edgar Winter at this big arena." And I'm like,
I don't know who that is. Should I know who that is?
yeah, he's Edgar Winter played, Slow Ride. He played the song Frankenstein.
Okay.
His brother Johnny Winter is a blues legend. So Edgar
Okay.
Winter and Johnny Winter and Edgar Winter are both albinos. And they're like literally albinos and blind,
Gotcha.
and Edgar Winter plays saxophone and timbali drums, and just a great musician. So we opened to him up at the Deschutes County Fairground, and it was a good gig. It was a big rock star moment for Sam and the band, and then he had his drummer, and they were kind of going back and forth, the guitar player and the drummer and Sam. And then they quit, and he calls me up again, and he goes, "Okay, here's the deal. The drummer and the guitar player quit, and I've got a 2-week tour of Europe.
Oh,
And it's your gig if you want it." And I said, "I'm in."
yeah.
So,
Say no more.
Right. So I've been in, and that was 26 years ago, and I've missed one gig in all those years.
Can we do something? I want to do something that I've never done on this show before.
Okay.
I want to have you back like in a few days, whenever you're available.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I can't do it Sunday because I have shallow signals from Wilmington, North Carolina on, but because we could fill another hour for sure.
Yeah.
We're only halfway through the story, and I want to get. I don't want to end. I have to end it, but I don't want to end it. We'll do a part 2.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd love that.
Is that cool?
I
I've
would
never done this before.
I
I've
would
never
totally
done
love
this
that.
before. I've always found a way to come to an end, but I don't want to find a way to come to an end because I have more questions and you have more things to say because we haven't gone full circle with it yet.
Yeah.
Is that cool? You want to do that?
I would absolutely love
Okay.
to do that. I think it would be great. And again, I thank you so much for having me on.
Sure. I know you're a busy guy, so we'll work on scheduling and things. And
You know what? Right now, here's what we could do. And I'm just, we'll text each other and stuff. I will next week. I have drum students Monday through Thursday, and I don't think I do. I could do
Well,
it like
we'll talk
we'll
when I
work
kill
it out.
the live stream here in a
we'll work it
second.
out.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
real quick. But yeah, it's. I feel like there's more that we could discuss. There's
Sure.
lots more to talk about, and I love this conversation. I love learning about all these iconic places, and California is just a dreamy place for anybody that hasn't. I've been there one time, and I was like 13 years old.
Yeah.
I remember it, yes, but I don't know. I wasn't that into music like I am now.
Yeah.
So these stories are just terrific, and I want to continue this. I want to continue this,
That
and
would be-
we haven't heard the ruins yet either. And
Yeah,
so
the
we gotta be
ruins.
able to
So-
do that, and
Yeah.
so we'll do that on the next show. We'll
Okay.
listen to the ruins. And don't you have a solo project also?
Well, the ruins is kind of
Is that
my
the-
that's my that's my
that's your-
that's my side project. And so if anybody's interested, and I'm
Yes, they
and
are.
it's
I am.
a shameless self plug. If
Yes.
everybody wants to go, you can go to my
Do it.
website bartrobley.com. I'm an author as well. I've written. I had my first literary book come out 2023, and I'm finishing my second one right now. I have 3 books that are drumming instructional books. I've written for many music magazines, drumming magazines and stuff. And yeah, The Ruins is my side project. I have a new solo drum album that I'm working on right now. I'm hoping to have out this year. I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you think about like there's been a lot of solo drum albums that have come out over the years. Shelly Mann with Let There Be Drums, and Carmine Appice, Let There Be Drums, and there's been a lot of drum records. I'll say that, and drum solo records. And so I'm doing one. I'm recording one right
Nice.
now, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be a lot of fun. And I try to get a lot of stuff into sync licensing. And the thing that's cool as far as the Ruins is concerned, so if you want to check out the Ruins,
Yeah, check it out.
check it out on my personal YouTube. I'll be honest with you, I got to go through and like put stuff
Hit
together
subscribe
better.
while you're over there.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of it's drumming instructional videos and music videos, and
I looked up some of the older videos that you had on there where you had some hair.
when I had hair. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
No
yeah.
offense.
Yeah, and but yeah, and the ruins was is my side project. And what I always try to do is I have a lot of different musicians play on it. The first song that we did that did a little bit of noise for us. There's 2 songs on the first album that Stevie Ducaney from Buck Cherry played on.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
he co-produced and played all the guitars, bass guitar, and some hand percussion on a song called Fade Away. And he did the guitar solo on a song called Bonesaw. And
I like
then,
Bonesaw. Bonesaw's one of my favorites.
well, now thank you. But now Bone on Bone, okay, that's why Bone on Bone didn't go to the first album, because I was like, I can't have 2 Bone songs on the record. so I
Yeah, you
put Bone
can.
on Bone. You can, yeah, right. Yeah, so I
a
have
little
Bone
bit
on
away
Bone.
going on in the background.
Yeah, right. So we have Bone on the second record, which just came out. Well, the record hasn't come out, but that it came out as a single, and that is Jeff Duncan from Armored Saint playing the guitar solo on
Yeah,
that.
that's
So,
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we're gonna play on the show too
Cool.
tonight.
Cool.
But yeah, let's schedule to have you back.
Okay, perfect.
We'll talk and we'll dive into part 2 of our conversation. We'll just halt the conversation here. That way we have a jump off point.
Perfect.
That's cool.
And there's got to be more to be said about salad and breadsticks. I've got to.
I will look up some things. Yeah, and I will make a true offstage segment all about that.
Perfect.
Maybe.
I'll do
We'll see.
a little bit of research too, and maybe we could have we'll come up with a thing.
A trivia, like a trivia of sorts for the chat, a trivia chat. And
what we have to do is you got to promote.
Fred's going to have to be back in the chat for this also. I'm thinking he could help out with this.
Is Fred the only one in the chat right now?
I don't know if he's still in there. He's been. Oh yes, he is, because he said cool part 2. Yes,
Cool part
he
2.
is. So we'll have to make Fred a part of this, maybe on the show with us if he wants to.
We can do that. Fred can do that.
We could do that.
Fred is.
We can do anything.
Fred can do anything. Fred can. And
Well, we can do anything. I mean, it's America,
I think Fred is a mechanic. I think he could fix your lawnmower.
Well, it's not
And-
mine anymore. I got a Cub Cadet now, so I'm good.
He could fix that and play
It's
hot
not
for
broken.
teacher at the same
I'm
time.
broken, though, so I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, then we don't need Fred.
No, we do need Fred though.
We do need Fred, but we don't need his services.
breadstick and salad opinion,
Exactly. I would think so.
And he's a drummer,
He's a
also.
great drummer. He's an amazing drummer. Fantastic.
Let's get this. He's commenting here. Let me see what he says. He
What's he
says,
say?
"Ha,
Huh?
ha."
Huh?
Well, it's going to be ha when you're on the show and we make fun of you for your breadstick views. I don't know. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Well, dude, Scott,
Let's,
this
let's
is
schedule,
tremendous.
let's schedule
I'm
to come
looking
back,
forward to
come back on the show. Let's continue the conversation, man.
it. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, next. Yeah, well, let's chat throughout the week. Matter of fact, you know what I'll do is on Instagram, I'll message you over my phone number, and so we don't.
Yeah,
have to
yeah, that
message on
sounds good. Yeah, I
Instagram.
was gonna say I'll send you mine as well, and that way that's sometimes a lot easier.
Yep.
You know, I owe I was supposed to play the other night when I had Devil in Disguise on. I was supposed to play this band called Lanaday at the end. That was
Okay.
going to be the outro, and I didn't do that because there was one song by Devil in Disguise that they didn't choose for their 2 songs to feature.
Okay.
It's called Purge. So I played Purge to end the show when they were on. So
Oh, okay.
tonight we're gonna listen to Worst Day by Lanaday because I owe them
Okay.
that. And
Cool.
I'm a man of my word. You know what I mean? At least on the show. You know what I mean? Not all the time.
I play
don't
one
know.
on the internet.
Fred says that I could be on his show. Does he have a show?
He has a show, and it was called Coffee with Fred. It's Drumoli. Hey,
like
wait
coffee.
a second, Fred. If you're still watching,
He is
you've
watching.
been on my. Now I'm a little pissed. He's
No,
been
he-
on my. He's been on my show. I've never been on Fred's show. I've never
Well,
been.
maybe he wants me to be on there first just to see what I think of you, and then he'll have you on. I don't know.
You know what?
be
That's
it.
probably a good call. You know what? You think
I mean,
Bart's
I could
show
lie
worthy?
also. I can lie a lot, man.
Yeah, yeah. Is
Everybody
he
lies.
show worthy? Is Bart show worthy?
Well, let's reschedule. We'll do some stuff with Fred, and maybe we'll just have Fred on halfway or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll get something going. But I think it'd be a lot of fun to have you back soon, real soon,
Awesome.
so we can
We'll
continue.
do
the
it
conversation.
next week. We'll do it next
Yeah,
week for
let's do it
sure.
next
Because I head out. Well, I don't head out for a few weeks. I head out in February. So.
And then we'll talk to Sam and get him on the show, and
Yeah.
this will be fun. It's very very nice to meet you, man. And
Scott,
we
it's
will-
been
we will
my
talk.
pleasure, man. Thank you so much for
Well-
letting me babble.
For sure, yeah. And we're not done yet. We'll have you.
Cool.
We'll have you back very soon, and we'll continue this.
And you know what? Seriously, you should have Fred on. Like seriously, you should have Fred
Maybe
on
before you come
as a
back. Is that
guest
what you mean?
and talk about his band because
Yes.
he's in a kicking band.
I would love that.
And he's a great drummer. He has a fantastic drum teaching business and a recording studio up in Boise. And like I said, if you go, you can go to Spotify. And just yesterday, the song "Shine on Me" from the Ruins came out, and all the backing vocals that you hear on there is Fred's wife Mary. And
That's right, yeah,
oh my God, she just killed it.
Maybe Mary will be on also.
Yeah,
We'll have a group,
we'll have a group. We'll start our own band.
and I'll fix my microphone so it doesn't. It keeps going in and out for some reason. Also,
Bread
things
sticks
are very
and salad.
vintage around here.
There you go.
They're 5 years old. Yeah, this July 30th will be the 5-year anniversary of the show, which is crazy.
Good for you. That's
And
great.
I'll just go ahead and say a little bit about that now. I did a New Year's video. Instead of having a New Year's show, I had a New Year's video. It just kind of filmed myself. But I'm going to do something live this year, like more live than just this show and me talking. It's going to be in person, probably in Pittsburgh, I'd say. Pittsburgh's a big network for me. It's like an hour and a half from here. And it'll be, I'm looking to do something all day with 6 or 7 bands. I don't know if my band's going to play. We just don't know. But you know, there's about 3 or 4 very special bands that are dear to my heart, you know, from this show that will definitely be a part of that bill. Things are
That's
just up
cool, man.
Things are up in the air with scheduling, but that will happen probably in August, I'd say, because I think July 30th is like a Wednesday or something. Nobody's going to come out. True musicians will come out on Wednesday. Not, you know, it's just a weekend. So I'm in the midst of finding a venue. I know a few up there that, you know,
I know we're going to be back. We're going to be
back.
back east. We're going to be back there quite a bit this year. We are playing in Chicago. We're playing in Michigan. We're playing in
Pittsburgh.
New York. We're not. I don't know if we.
Why do you skip Pittsburgh? Why does everybody skip Pittsburgh?
No, I'll play
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I'll play Pittsburgh.
Come to Pittsburgh. Come to West Virginia. We would love to have the Sam Morrison band here. That music
Yeah.
is right
Is there
up the
any-
alley of all the places around here.
I
you know?
can. Oh, I know. I've been to West Virginia. Are you? Are you? Are there venues around there? Is there anything around it? Casinos
Well,
or anything like that?
yeah, there are, but not. Okay, so the venue that we're playing, that my band's playing on the 1st of February is in Dunbar, which is just south of Charleston. Okay, so
Okay.
West Virginia we call it the fuck you state because it looks like this. It's what it's shaped like. I mean, I can't,
Yeah.
I didn't do that, you know? I live here, like
You
right
live
here.
there.
And
Okay.
Charleston is like down here-ish. I don't know.
Where's Ohio? Where's Ohio?
Everything's back. Ohio's like over here.
Okay.
Or-
Oh, yeah.
or
Okay.
this
I'm
way, this
looking
way.
backwards. So
Yeah,
Ohio,
yeah.
okay,
It's like the weather guy. You know, everything's backwards for me. Wheeling's up here. Pittsburgh would be like right here.
Okay.
Pittsburgh's like right there.
Cool.
So yeah, the fuck you state. There's actually
Cool.
shirts you can buy that shaped.
Yeah.
with the
You know what? It is kind of shaped like that.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. That's right.
All right, Bart. Let's have you back. We'll have
Bitchin'.
Fred on. We'll have Mary on. We will have the entire Sam Morrison band on if we have to
Cool. That'd be
for a
fun.
live performance. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool, man.
That would be tough,
We
but
could figure something out.
We'll do it.
I'm sure.
We'll do it. Fred,
All
thanks for chatting. You were the only one. You were the chat winner tonight. You won. I'll send you stickers.
Send them some breadsticks and donuts.
Nah, yeah,
breadsticks
it's
and
Olive
salad.
Garden coupons or something. Here is Lana Day with Worst Day. And I will be back on Sunday with Shallow Signals from Wilmington. Bart, I'll talk to you.
Okay, buddy.
Even on my worst day, I kill it on stage. Tell your fucking friends, yeah, give them my name. All I ever do is kill it. I can't even lose on a bad day. Even on my worst day, nothing gon' change. After all the bullshit, still in the game. All I ever do is kill it. Look at how I move on a bad day. Even on my worst day, I'm spent dice. I've got an open mouth to fight. You can keep what you want, but I still be the sign. Full of all the empty promises and all the shit that you said is what make me lie. But I'm not wicked anymore. So what I have to say when I want something done. Well, now you hear me now. Just run it out. Just let it see it out. Get it on stage. Feel fucking fancy. Give them my name. All I ever do is kill it. I can't even lose on a bad day. Even on my worst day. Nothing gon' change. After all the bullshit, still in the game. All I have to do is kill it. Look at how I move on a bad day. Even on my worst day. We keep it living now. Took all of that guilt you gave me and stuck it out. You're just another prize of oversight that I was trying to set right. You're just another cog in the inside that I was trying to set right. It's all right, let's go. Let's go the roads out. Well, that's your love for sure. That's your love to your destruction. Keep it on stage. Tell your fucking friends, yeah, give them my name. All I ever do is kill it. I can't even lose on a bad day. Even on my worst day. Even on my worst day, nothing gon' change. Traded out the bullshit, but it gon' change. All